My brothers, let me tell you something. We live in a generation where men have been deceived by games, tricks, manipulation, and pickup tactics. But I came to shake that lie today because real kings don't need to beg, bend, or trick a woman into wanting them. You are not designed to chase validation. You are designed to stand in your power, your purpose, and your manhood, and the right woman will see it and she will align with it. So, this idea that you can make any woman want you, even if she's not interested, that's foolishness. A king doesn't make anyone want him. A king positions himself so that those who are assigned to his life can recognize his value. What you need is not more manipulation, it's understanding who you are, walking in self-respect, and recognizing that rejection is not a curse, it's redirection. Now, let me give you 10 points, my brothers. My brothers, hear me clearly today. One of the biggest mistakes men make in this generation is wasting precious energy trying to prove their value to people who have already decided not to see it. Too many of you are bending over backwards, changing your character, emptying your pockets, chasing after attention from women who have no real interest in you. And I came to tell you today, you don't need to convince anybody of your value, because your value does not come from her opinion. Your value does not come from her validation. Your value is not established by how much she likes you or how much attention she gives you. Your value is intrinsic. It is God-given. It is baked into your being as a man. The tragedy is that so many brothers don't realize who they are. They are blinded by the desire for acceptance. And when you don't know who you are, you will spend your life trying to buy what God has already placed inside of you for free. You'll be in restaurants spending money you don't have, driving cars you can't afford, dressing in brands that you don't even like, all for the sake of making somebody look at you and say, now you're worthy of me. But let me help you. If you have to convince a woman that you're worthy, she's already telling you silently that she doesn't see you. And if she doesn't see you now, she never will. I want you to think about it. A diamond doesn't beg anybody to see its brilliance. Gold doesn't need to shout in the marketplace, I am valuable. No, real value is recognized. A man of value doesn't campaign for validation. He doesn't stand on the corner trying to sell himself like a commercial. His presence speaks. His character speaks. His confidence speaks. And the right woman, the one who is aligned with his life, his purpose, and his destiny, she will not need to be convinced. She will recognize his worth because she has the vision to see beyond the surface. But the wrong woman, oh, she'll keep you jumping through hoops. She'll test you. She'll belittle you. She'll ignore your essence because she was never assigned to your life in the first place. And many of you, because you're addicted to validation, you keep running after the wrong woman, trying to say, please pick me, please see me, please give me a chance. And what you don't understand is that kings don't beg to be chosen. Kings understand that if she doesn't see it, that is not your problem. That is not your failure. That is simply misalignment. Some of you are losing sleep at night because you're trying to figure out why she's not texting you back, why she's not calling you, why she's not interested. Let me tell you why. Because she's not the one. And every time you try to convince her of your value, you are lowering yourself, shrinking yourself, and begging for crumbs when God has prepared a feast. You cannot walk like a king while crawling for validation. And let me tell you this, when a woman really sees you, you won't have to perform. You won't have to overcompensate. You won't have to pretend to be somebody you're not. She will value your presence. She will honor your essence. She will celebrate your growth. And she will do it naturally, not because you forced her to, not because you had to run game, but because her spirit bears witness to who you really are. My brother, your job is not to convince. Your job is to stand in your authenticity, to stand in your purpose, to stand in your confidence. When you know who you are, you don't go around begging people to recognize it. You don't walk into a room trying to prove your worth. No, you walk in and the room shifts because value carries its own weight. A man who knows who he is does not chase attention. He commands respect simply by showing up. But when you live your life trying to convince women of your value, you give away your power. You place your manhood in their hands. You say, if you approve of me, then I matter. If you ignore me, then I am nothing. That is dangerous because now your self-worth rises and falls on the opinions of people who don't even know your calling, don't even know your destiny, don't even know the price you paid to get where you are. You see, every king must reach a point where he says, I will no longer try to convince people to see what God has already said about me. If God calls you chosen, why are you chasing people who treat you like an option? If God calls you valuable, why are you pursuing people who treat you like a liability? If God calls you a king, why are you bowing down for crumbs at the table of people who don't respect you? My brother, you've got to rise up and reclaim your dignity. Let me say it plain. If she doesn't see it, don't waste another second trying to make her. That's not your assignment. Your assignment is to walk in such clarity of self that whether she applauds you or ignores you, you remain unshaken. You remain steady because your value is not on trial. It was already settled by the Creator when He made you. And let me tell you the truth. When you stop trying to convince women of your value, something powerful happens. You become attractive without effort. You become magnetic without manipulation. Because confidence is the greatest cologne a man can wear. Purpose is the most powerful aura a man can carry. Women are not drawn to men who beg. They are drawn to men who know. And when you know who you are, you won't chase, you won't beg, you won't prove, you will simply attract what belongs to you. So my word to you today is simple. Stop trying to convince women of your value. You are not a salesman. You are not a product on clearance. You are a king. And kings don't beg for recognition, they embody it. Stand tall, know your worth, and watch how the wrong people fall away, but the right people are drawn in like light to a flame. My brothers, let me talk to your spirit today. One of the greatest lies you've been sold is that you can somehow manufacture attraction, that you can say the right thing, wear the right clothes, drive the right car, and suddenly she will want you. And I came to tell you that's not how it works. You cannot make somebody desire you who has already made up their mind that they don't. Attraction is not manufactured. It is not produced in a laboratory. It is not purchased with money. It is not convinced with lines. Attraction is either there or it is not. And if it is not, you are wasting your time trying to spark a fire in wood that's soaking wet. The problem is too many men are wasting years of their lives chasing women who are not assigned to their lives, thinking if they just work harder, do more, prove more, eventually she will want them. But you can't trick her spirit. You can't manipulate her heart. If the chemistry isn't there, it's not there. And here's the truth. my brother. When you force something that isn't meant to be, you end up with counterfeit love. And counterfeit love always costs more than it gives. See, attraction is a natural response. It's not something you can bargain for. If she has to squint her eyes to see your value, she's not the one. If she has to pretend to laugh at your jokes, if she has to force herself to spend time with you, if she gives you excuses every time you call, then she's already telling you she's not attracted. And Linz, don't make it about your worth. Don't make it about your identity. Her lack of attraction doesn't mean you are not valuable. It simply means she's not aligned with you because another woman, the right one, will see you and her whole spirit will say, "That's him. That's the one I've been waiting for." This is why you've got to stop chasing validation. Stop trying to buy affection. Stop trying to twist yourself into knots to look like what you think she wants. Because let me tell you something powerful. Even if you manage to manipulate her into giving you temporary attention, it will not last. A woman who is never attracted to you will eventually resent you. She will use you, she will drain you, she will tolerate you, but she will never truly love you. And when a woman tolerates you instead of celebrating you, you become a prisoner in your own relationship. Some of you are asking, well, Pastor, if I can't make her want me, what do I do? The answer is simple. You become the best version of yourself and you position yourself where the right woman can recognize it. Stop looking at rejection as failure and start looking at it as redirection. If she's not attracted, good. That's one less distraction you have to deal with. That's one less wasted year. That's one less heartache. Thank God she told you early that she doesn't see it, because every no brings you closer to the yes that was designed for your life. Let me take it deeper. Some of you have been conditioned by society to believe that if you have enough game, if you have enough swag, if you memorize the right lines, you can make anybody want you. But what is that? That's manipulation. And manipulation always backfires because what you use to get her is what you'll have to use to keep her. If you tricked her into liking you, you'll have to keep tricking her to stay. If you bought her attention, you'll have to keep buying it. If you perform to win her, you'll have to keep performing. And my brother, you can't sustain a performance forever. At some point, the mask will fall, and when it does, she will leave, because she was never drawn to the real you, only to the mask you wore. This is why I say attraction is not manufactured. It's either there or it isn't. And you've got to be okay with that. You've got to be so secure in who you are that if she says, "I'm not interested," you don't crumble, you don't break down, you don't question your manhood. You simply say, "Thank you for being honest," and keep walking in your purpose. Because hear me, a man of purpose does not chase, he attracts. He doesn't manipulate, he manifests. He doesn't beg for love, he becomes love. And the right woman can't help but recognize it. Let me be real with you. There is a woman right now who is praying for a man like you. She doesn't care about how much money you have in your pocket. She cares about the character you carry in your soul. She doesn't care about the car you drive. She cares about the vision you drive with your life. She doesn't care about the brand of your suit. She cares about the brand of integrity written on your heart. And when she sees you, she won't need convincing. She won't need to be persuaded. Her spirit will respond to yours without you saying a word. That's real attraction, and it cannot be manufactured. So my word to you is this: stop wasting your time trying to water a dead plant. If she's not into you, release her. Stop texting her 3 times when she hasn't replied once. Stop showing up where she is, just hoping she'll notice you. Stop overspending on dates for someone who doesn't even enjoy your company. That is beneath you, and it is not the path of a king. A king doesn't beg for loyalty, he inspires it. A king doesn't force love, he receives it. A king doesn't force love, he receives it. Attraction is spiritual. Attraction is alignment. Attraction is divine timing. And the right woman will see you and be drawn to you without you having to become somebody else. She will celebrate the man you already are. And when you find that, you'll realize why it never worked with the others. You'll realize why God blocked those connections. Because he was protecting you from a counterfeit so he could lead you to the authentic. My brothers, stop trying to manufacture attraction. Stop trying to make her see what she doesn't see. If she doesn't feel it, let her go. That doesn't mean you're not enough. It just means she's not the one. And when you finally stand firm in that truth, you'll stop chasing what doesn't belong to you and start attracting what does. And let me tell you, when the right one shows up, you won't have to ask, is she interested? You'll know her respect, her energy, her presence will tell you without words. And that, my brother, is the kind of attraction that no money, no game, no manipulation can ever create. My brothers, let me tell you something that will save you from years of wasted time, wasted tears, and wasted energy. Rejection is not the end of your story. Rejection is not the proof that you are unworthy. Rejection is not God telling you that you are less than a man. Rejection, my brother, is God's protection. Every time you are turned down, every time you are ignored, every time she says, I'm not interested, you need to stop interpreting that as a loss and start recognizing it as a divine redirection. God is protecting you from something you could not see, but he already knew would destroy you. The problem is too many men are addicted to validation. You think the only way to prove your manhood is to have every woman say yes. And when one says no, you fall into depression, you beat yourself down, you start questioning your worth. But what you don't realize is that sometimes the greatest blessing God will ever give you is the door he doesn't allow you to walk through. Because behind that door is a heartbreak. Behind that door is a distraction. Behind that door is a delay in your purpose. And instead of thanking God for the no, you sit there begging him to turn it into a yes. But a king understands that a no is often God's way of protecting his destiny. Let me break it down. You think rejection is punishment, but rejection is preservation. You think she turned you down because you weren't enough, but the truth is, God saw the path she was on. God saw the character she carried. God saw the storm that would hit your life if you stayed with her. And in his mercy, he said, no, son, that one is not for you. See, you don't just marry a woman's beauty. You marry her spirit. You marry her habits. You marry her decisions. You marry her demons. And God loves you too much to let you walk into a covenant with somebody who would destroy your soul. Think about it. How many times have you looked back over your life and thanked God for unanswered prayers? At one point, you were crying, saying, Lord, why didn't she want me? But years later, you saw who she really was. You saw the drama she carried. You saw the chaos she created, and you had to lift your hands and say, thank you, Jesus, for saving me. Men that. That's what I mean when I say rejection is God's protection. You don't see it in the moment, but hindsight reveals it was the best thing that could have happened to you. The problem is too many men don't know how to handle rejection like kings. When a woman says no, instead of moving forward, you chase harder. Instead of taking it as a sign, you see it as a challenge. You spend months, sometimes years, trying to convince somebody to love you who has already shown you she doesn't. And in the process, you lose yourself. You lose your dignity. You lose your purpose. Let me help you. You were never designed to beg for love. Begging for love is beneath a king. A king doesn't crumble because one person doesn't recognize his value. A king says, if you can't see me, that's your loss. If you can't appreciate me, that's your issue. If you reject me, then clearly you're not assigned to my destiny. And let me take this deeper. Sometimes rejection is not just about the woman. Sometimes God is using rejection to force you into growth. Sometimes he closes doors because you were about to settle. Sometimes he blocks opportunities because he knows you're worth more than what you're asking for. The rejection hurts because you thought that was your blessing, but God knew it was a counterfeit. He knows what's ahead. He knows what he designed you for, and he won't allow you to waste yourself on less. So instead of sulking in rejection, start celebrating it. Instead of crying, start thanking God, because every rejection is a step closer to alignment. Every no is one more step toward the yes that will change your life. Every closed door is a divine setup to position you for something greater. When you shift your perspective, you stop chasing what left and you start preparing for what's coming. And let me say this clearly, if a woman rejects you, don't argue with her. Don't try to convince her. Don't degrade her. Don't degrade her. Don't make her pay for not wanting you. Just walk away in peace. Because how you handle rejection says more about your character than how you handle success. A weak man throws tantrums when he's rejected. A strong man says, thank you for your honesty, and keeps moving. And that kind of strength, that kind of composure, that kind of security will eventually attract the woman who can truly value you. My brother, hear me. Rejection does not diminish your value. $100 bill doesn't lose its worth if somebody drops it on the ground. A diamond doesn't stop being valuable because someone is too blind to see it. And you don't stop being a king just because one woman said no. You are still valuable. You are still chosen. You are still called. And when the right one sees you, she won't hesitate. She won't play games. She won't string you along. She will recognize the value the other one rejected. So stop crying over rejection. Stop stalking her page. Stop replaying her words in your head. That's wasted energy. Redirect that energy into your growth, into your purpose, into your future. Because when you step fully into who you are supposed to be, you will see why God protected you from what you thought you wanted. You will see that his no was never rejection. It was always redirection. Let me close with this thought. A king does not force doors open. He waits for the doors that are assigned to him to swing wide without him pushing. You don't need to chase what's not yours. You don't need to beg for what doesn't fit. You don't need to manipulate to get what God has already promised. All you need to do is trust that rejection is protection. And when you do, you'll stop seeing it as the end of something and start seeing it as the beginning of something better. My brother, hold your head up. Walk like a king. And every time life hands you a no, smile and say, that's God protecting me from something I didn't even see. Because when the right yes comes, You'll understand why every no had to happen. My brothers, hear me today. If there is one truth that will shift the way you live and the way you love, it is this: purpose is the real magnet. Purpose is what makes you attractive on a level far deeper than looks, deeper than money, deeper than status. Purpose is what gives a man presence. Purpose is what gives a man authority. Purpose is what makes a man unforgettable. And yet so many brothers walk around chasing women, trying to buy love, trying to impress with cars, with clothes, with lines, when the truth is none of that has the power of a man who is rooted in his assignment from God. See, purpose is not just what you do. It is who you are. It is the reason God put you on this earth. It is your assignment, your calling, your destiny. And when a man is walking in his purpose, he doesn't have to beg for attention. His life itself begins to shine. He doesn't have to trick anybody into noticing him. His presence speaks louder than his words. And women of quality, women of vision, women of faith, they are not looking for men who just look good. They are looking for men who live good, men who are aligned, men who are steady, men who are going somewhere. Let me put it to you this way. A man without purpose is like a ship without a sail. He is drifting. He is unpredictable. He is unstable. And do you know what that feels like for a woman? It feels unsafe. A woman cannot follow a man who doesn't know where he's going. She may be entertained by him for a while. She may laugh with him. She may even spend some time with him. But when it comes down to it, when it comes to building a life, when it comes to building a family, she needs a man with direction. She needs to know, if I connect with him, are we moving towards something, or are we just wasting time? And that's why I say my brother's purpose is the real magnet. You think attraction comes from chasing, but attraction comes from becoming. When you are becoming who God called you to be, you won't need to. The right woman will see you, and she will be drawn to the light of your purpose. She will say, this man knows who he is. This man knows where he's going. This man is not confused, not wandering, not living in circles. He is a man of destiny. And that is irresistible to the kind of woman you should want in your life. Now, hear me clearly. Purpose is not about money. There are plenty of men who are wealthy but empty. Purpose is not about popularity. There are plenty of men who are famous but hollow. Purpose is about alignment with God. It is about knowing why you were born and walking in it with conviction. A man with no money but strong purpose is more attractive than a man with millions who has no vision, because money can disappear, status can fade, looks can change, but purpose is eternal. Purpose is the thing that will sustain you when everything else fails. And let me say this, when you live without purpose, you attract the wrong kind of women. When you don't know who you are, you draw women who are only interested in what you can give them in the moment. They're there for the fun, they're there for the ride, but they're not there for the future. But when you live with purpose, you attract women who see beyond the surface. You attract women who are ready to build, ready to grow, ready to invest, ready to walk with you into destiny. And that's the difference between temporary attention and lasting connection. Some of you keep asking, why don't women respect me? Why don't they value me? My brother, respect comes from direction. If you don't respect yourself enough to find your purpose, how can you expect anyone else to respect you? If you don't have a plan for your own life, how can you lead someone else's life? Women are not confused. They can see when a man is wandering and when a man is leading. And if you want her to take you seriously, You've got to take your life seriously first. Let me be real with you. Purpose gives you standards. A man who knows his purpose doesn't settle for just anybody. He doesn't allow every distraction into his circle. He doesn't compromise just to have company because he understands that not everyone can go where he's going, and that in itself makes him more attractive. Women respect a man who has boundaries, a man who has discipline, a man who says, I can't waste my energy here because I've got something greater to build. That is the mark of a king. Purpose also gives you confidence. You don't walk around second guessing yourself when you're in purpose. You don't beg for acceptance. You don't crumble when somebody doesn't validate you, because your validation comes from knowing I'm doing what God put me on this earth to do. And that kind of confidence cannot be faked. That kind of confidence cannot be purchased. That kind of confidence cannot be manufactured. It only comes when a man knows his why. And I'm telling you, my brothers, when you find your why, the right woman will find you. But let me warn you, if you ignore your purpose, if you waste your years chasing women instead of chasing destiny, you will end up empty. Because women come and go, but purpose remains. And when you have no foundation in purpose, you will keep repeating cycles of disappointment, heartbreak, and regret. You will keep saying, why does this keep happening to me? It keeps happening because you're trying to attract without becoming. You're trying to pull in what you haven't positioned yourself to handle. So hear me as I close this word. Stop making women your focus and start making your purpose your focus. When you know your purpose, you don't have to run after anyone. Purpose is magnetic. It will pull the right people to you, and it will push the wrong people away from you. Purpose will reveal who belongs in your life and who doesn't. Purpose will save you from wasting time on women who were never assigned to your destiny. Purpose will connect you with the woman who not only loves you, but respects you, believes in you, and is willing to build with you. My brothers, purpose is the real magnet. You don't need games. You don't need tricks. You don't need gimmicks. You need direction. You need clarity. You need alignment. When you walk in purpose, you walk in power. And when you walk in power, you will not have to convince anybody to see your value. They will see it naturally, because purpose cannot be hidden. And when you live in it, it will draw everything that is meant for you right into your life. My brothers, lean in close and hear me well. One of the most powerful things a man can ever learn in his life is this: respect yourself enough to walk away. Too many men stay where they are dishonored. Too many men keep investing in women who have made it clear they don't see their value. Too many men cling to situations that are slowly draining their spirit. And why? Because they don't respect themselves enough to walk away. You see, walking away is not weakness. Walking away is strength. Walking away is not losing. Walking away is winning. Walking away does not mean you are less of a man. It means you are so much of a man that you refuse to tolerate anything beneath your dignity. The problem is society has trained a lot of men to think that persistence always equals love. We hear things like, don't give up, keep chasing her. Eventually she'll come around. But let me tell you, persistence in the wrong place becomes self-destruction. When somebody shows you with their words, their actions, or their lack of interest that they don't want you, you don't earn respect by forcing yourself into their life. You lose respect both from them and from yourself. Because a man who truly respects himself refuses to beg for what should flow naturally. Walking away is about self-respect. It's about saying, I will not sit at a table where I am tolerated. I will only sit where I am celebrated. I will not spend my life trying to convince somebody to Value me when my value is already established by God. I will not waste my energy begging for love when I was born to be loved freely. That is the mindset of a king. Kings don't stay in places where they are belittled. Kings don't stay in relationships where they are disrespected. Kings don't settle for half love or part-time commitment. Kings have the courage to walk away. Let me tell you something that may sting. The reason some of you are stuck in toxic cycles is because you don't know when to leave. You keep making excuses, saying maybe she'll change, maybe if I prove myself more, maybe if I give her more time. But my brother, if you have to keep proving, then she doesn't see you. If you have to keep begging, then she doesn't value you. And every moment you stay in a place like that, you are teaching yourself to settle for less than you deserve. You are training your own heart to believe that dishonor is acceptable. Respecting yourself enough to walk away also means trusting God with your future. Sometimes you stay because you're afraid there won't be anybody else. You tell yourself, if I leave her, I'll be alone. If I walk away, I might not find someone else. But let me remind you, God has not run out of daughters. The same God who made you with intention has also made a woman who is aligned with your destiny. And if you keep holding on to the wrong one, you'll miss the right one. When you respect yourself enough to let go, you're not losing, you're making room for better. Let's be real. Sometimes walking away hurts. Sometimes it feels like your heart is being ripped out of your chest. Sometimes it feels like failure. But you've got to look past the pain and see the bigger picture. Walking away is not about what you're losing, it's about what you're protecting. You are protecting your peace, your purpose, your dignity, your future. And a man who protects those things is a man who truly understands his worth. Think about it. If you had a priceless diamond and somebody treated it like a piece of glass, would you keep giving it to him? No, you would take it back and protect it because you know its value. My brother, you are that diamond. And if she cannot handle you with care, if she mishandles your heart, if she disrespects your soul, it is not your job to convince her. You need to take yourself back and walk away. Now, let me touch on another point. Sometimes the reason you struggle to walk away is because you don't know who you are outside of her. You've tied your identity to her approval. You've tied your manhood to her acceptance. But hear me clearly, your identity is not in her hands. Your manhood does not rise and fall based on her interest. Your worth is not dependent on her staying. You are valuable whether she chooses you or not. And when you finally grasp that truth, you will find the strength to walk away from anything that doesn't honor you. A man who respects himself sets the standard for how others treat him. If you allow disrespect, you will keep receiving disrespect. If you accept crumbs, you will never be offered the full meal. But when you walk away from what dishonors you, you send a clear message. I am a king, and I will not settle for less than respect, love, and honor. And the moment you do that, everything in your life begins to shift, because God will not elevate a man who refuses to honor himself. And let me tell you something else. Walking away is not just about women. Walking away applies to friendships, to jobs, to environments. Any place where you are not respected is not a place where you are supposed to stay. If they can't honor you, if they can't see you, if they can't celebrate you, then it's not your table. And a king does not beg for a seat at the wrong table. He builds his own. My brother, I know it's hard. I know your emotions get involved. I know your pride wants to prove yourself. But I also know this, if you respect yourself enough to walk away, you will unlock a new level of power in your life. You will no longer live for the approval of others. You will no longer waste years in the wrong places. You will no longer compromise your dignity just to feel wanted. You will stand tall as a man who knows his value. So here is my challenge to you. Look at your life. Look at your relationships. Look at the places you've been investing your time and energy. Ask yourself honestly, do they respect me? Do they value me? Do they celebrate me? And if the answer is no, then it's time to make a decision. Respect yourself enough to walk away. Don't wait another year. Don't keep making excuses. Don't keep hoping for what is never going to be. Walk away now with your dignity intact, with your head held high, knowing you did not lose, you won. Because walking away is not about weakness, it's about strength. It's about saying, I love myself enough to not stay where I am unloved. I honor myself enough to not stay where I am dishonored. I value myself enough to not stay where I am devalued. That, my brother, is the mark of a true king. And when you finally learn that lesson, your entire life will change. My brothers, lean in for this one because it may just be the turning point of your life. Too many men have been conditioned to believe that if they can just get her attention, they can somehow make her love them. So you chase, you perform, you compete, you stretch yourself thin, all in the name of trying to be seen. But let me tell you something straight from the heart of a father. Don't chase attention, build presence. Attention fades, but presence endures. Attention is shallow, but presence is weighty. Attention is about her eyes noticing you for a moment, but presence is about her spirit being moved by who you are. And my brother, that difference right there can save you from years of heartbreak. Chasing attention will always leave you empty, because when you are chasing, you are operating from a place of insecurity. You are saying with your actions, I am not enough as I am, so I must do more, I must show more, I must spend more, I must prove more. And the moment you start doing that, you have already handed your power over to her. She now becomes the judge of whether you are valuable or not. And you can never build a life. You can never lead a family. You can never stand as a king when your entire sense of worth is dependent on another person's temporary approval. Presence, on the other hand, is different. Presence is built in silence, in consistency, in purpose. Presence is not about being loud, it's about being rooted. It's not about being flashy, it's about being stable. A man with presence doesn't need to shout his worth. His worth speaks before he opens his mouth. A man with presence doesn't need to chase because his very existence commands respect. Women of substance are not moved by noise. They are moved by depth. They are not impressed by chasing. They are impressed by presence. Think about it. A shallow man may get her attention for a moment, but when the thrill fades, he has nothing left to offer. But a man of presence can sit quietly in a room, and without saying a word, he changes the atmosphere. Because presence is built on character, presence is built on purpose, presence is built on discipline, presence is built on God's anointing over your life. And that kind of presence cannot be ignored. Some of you are frustrated because you feel invisible. You say, no one notices me, no one values me. But the real question is, have you been busy chasing attention or building presence? You see, when you chase attention, you spread yourself thin, trying to be seen by everyone. But when you build presence, you don't need everyone. You only need the right one to see you. And when the right one sees a man of presence, she will never confuse him with the noise of boys chasing her all day long. Let me be clear. Presence is not about arrogance. It's not about pride. It's not about walking into a room trying to dominate. Presence is about walking in your authenticity. It's about being unapologetically who you are. It's about living in such a way that your actions, your decisions, your consistency, and your integrity speak louder than any words you could ever say. That's why chasing attention is exhausting. You have to keep performing, but presence is natural. You simply live as who you were created to be. And here's the truth, my brother. Women can tell the difference. They know when you are chasing attention and when you are rooted in presence. Attention feels desperate. Presence feels secure. Attention feels shallow. Presence feels steady. Attention demands, look at me. Presence says, here I am, whether you look or not. And every queen worth having is drawn to presence, not performance. Now let me go deeper. Chasing attention is about ego, but building presence is about legacy. Ego says, I need her to see me right now. Legacy says, I will live in such a way that even if she doesn't notice today, my presence will echo tomorrow. You are not called to live for quick attention. You are called to live for lasting impact. And when you build your life on legacy, you stop wasting energy on trying to be noticed and start investing in becoming the kind of man who cannot be ignored. My brother, stop chasing what have you tired, frustrated, and bitter, chasing what have you resenting women because they don't give you the attention you think you deserve. But the problem is not them, it's that you've been running after something shallow instead of standing in something deep. If you would spend the same energy you've been using to chase women on building your mind, building your faith, building your career, building your purpose, you would suddenly realize you no longer have to chase because the right woman will be drawn to the weight of your presence. Presence also protects you. When you chase attention, you'll take it from anybody who offers it. That's why so many men end up with women who drain them, disrespect them, and derail them, because they confused attention with love. But when you build presence, you don't need every set of eyes on you. You only need alignment. You only need the right woman who recognizes what you carry. And when she comes, you'll know it because her response will not be shallow attention. It will be genuine admiration, respect, and connection. Let me tell you this, attention is cheap, but presence is priceless. Anybody can give you attention for a moment, but not everyone can respect your presence for a lifetime. So why waste time begging for what is cheap when you can build what is priceless? A man who builds presence may not get all the attention at first, but he will have the kind of respect that cannot be denied. And respect is far more valuable than attention ever will be. So here's my word to you. Stop running after her eyes. Start building your life. Stop performing for applause. Start investing in purpose. Stop trying to be seen. Start becoming someone worth seeing. Because when you build presence, you don't have to chase anyone. Your presence will do the work for you. It will separate you from the crowd. It will draw the right woman. It will command respect. And it will set you apart as the king you were created to be. My brothers, never forget this. Attention is temporary, but presence is eternal. Build presence, and the world will know your value without you ever having to chase a single soul. My brothers, listen to me with your whole heart, because what I am about to say can save you years of wasted time, unnecessary heartbreak, and the destruction of your destiny. The wrong woman is not just a wrong choice. The wrong woman is a distraction sent to pull you off the path of your purpose. She can look good, she can sound good, she can even feel good, but if she is not aligned with your assignment, she will cost you more than you could ever imagine. Some of you right now are carrying wounds and burdens not because you weren't capable, not because God didn't call you to greatness, but because you tied yourself to the wrong woman and she drained you instead of building you. You see, a woman in your life should be a partner to your purpose, not a weight that pulls you backward. The Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Notice it says a wife, not just any woman, not just any pretty face, not just anyone who gives you attention. A wife is a woman who is divinely designed to complement you, to encourage you, to build with you, to multiply what you bring to the table. But when you confuse attention for alignment, you end up calling a distraction your destiny. And that mistake can be costly. The wrong woman will always take you away from who you are supposed to be. She will take your focus off your goals. She will sap your energy. She will consume your resources and still leave you feeling empty. She will have you questioning your worth, doubting your calling, and walking in circles. The wrong woman is not just a relationship issue, she is a destiny issue. Because while you are tied up with her, the right woman, the one God intended, cannot find her place in your life. Now, don't misunderstand me. The wrong woman is not necessarily a bad person. Sometimes she's just not your person. She may be wonderful for someone else, but if she's not aligned with your assignment, she will still function as a distraction for you. You can love her, you can admire her, you can even have chemistry with her, but chemistry is not the same thing as destiny, and a lot of brothers get trapped because they confuse sparks with substance. Sparks feel exciting, but they don't last. Substance is what builds a future, and if you're not careful, you'll spend years chasing sparks while your purpose is burning out. My brother, you have to be discerning. Every woman that looks good to you is not good for you. Every woman that wants you is not sent to you. Every woman that can share your bed cannot share your destiny. And you must have the maturity to say no, even when your flesh says yes, because kings don't make choices based on temporary feelings. Kings make choices based on legacy. Let me break it down further. The wrong woman will always highlight your weaknesses and exploit them. The right woman will see your weaknesses but cover them and help you grow through them. The wrong woman will compete with your vision. The right woman will contribute to your vision. The wrong woman will drain your spirit with constant drama, confusion, and manipulation. The right woman will bring peace, encouragement, and clarity. This is why you must never choose out of desperation. Desperation blinds you to distraction. When you don't know who you are, when you don't value yourself, you will settle for any woman who shows you a little attention, even if she is pulling you away from your assignment. The wrong woman, my brothers, is like a spiritual assignment from the enemy. She is designed to keep you busy, keep you distracted, keep you drained so that you never have the energy or focus to step into who you were created to be. Look back over your life. How many years have you lost? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers? How much peace have you forfeited because you were entangled with someone who was never meant to go with you into your future? The worst part is, while you were distracted, the enemy was stealing time you can never get back. But here's the good news. You can break free. You can cut the cord with distraction. You can realign yourself with your destiny. But it begins with you valuing yourself enough to recognize that not every woman deserves access to you. You are not some common man that every woman can lay claim to. You are a king, and a king does not allow a distraction to sit on the throne next to him. A king does not allow his kingdom to be compromised because of temporary pleasure. A king has discernment, and he understands that his choice of a queen can either multiply his kingdom or destroy it. The wrong woman will always cost you more than you are willing to pay. She will cost you your peace, your time, your energy, sometimes even your money and reputation. And when she leaves, and you'll look back and realize you've been robbed of years. But the right woman will never drain you. She will pour into you. She will never distract you. She will align with you. She will not cost you peace. She will create peace. And that's why, my brother, you must learn to walk away from distraction, no matter how good it looks or feels in the moment. You see, one of the greatest tests of a man's maturity is his ability to say no to the wrong woman. Because the wrong woman will always be more accessible. She will always come with less resistance. She will always appeal to your flesh. But kings are not led by the flesh. Kings are led by wisdom. Kings are led by vision. Kings are led by legacy. And you cannot build a legacy with distraction. So hear me, the wrong woman is not worth it. She may entertain you for a season, but she will derail your destiny for a lifetime. Don't sell your future for a temporary thrill. Don't compromise your calling for a little attention. Don't trade your crown for comfort. Because once you lose time, once you lose opportunities, once you lose focus, it can take years to rebuild. My brother, protect your purpose. Guard your heart. Recognize that your choice in a woman is not just a personal decision, it's a destiny decision. The wrong woman is a distraction, but the right woman is divine alignment. Don't let distraction rob you of your crown. Walk in discernment, walk in discipline, walk as the king you were created to be. And when the right woman comes, she won't distract you. She'll confirm what God already put in you. That is why, my brothers, I say it again, the wrong woman is not just wrong. She is dangerous. She is a distraction. And your purpose, your peace, and your future are far too valuable to give away to someone who was never meant to sit beside you on the throne of your destiny. My brothers, hear me when I tell you this. Patience is not weakness. Patience is not passivity. Patience is power. In a world that is constantly rushing, constantly telling you that you are behind, constantly telling you that you must make it happen right now, I am here to tell you that patience is the secret weapon of kings. Patience is what separates men who build legacies from boys who burn out chasing temporary thrills. Patience is the ability to wait, to trust, to remain steady, even when your emotions and your desires are screaming at you to move ahead of God's timing. You see, many brothers ruin their future because they lack patience. They jump at the first woman who gives them attention. They rush into relationships because they are lonely. They settle for companionship instead of waiting for alignment. They confuse movement with progress. But, my brother, not all movement is progress. Sometimes rushing gets you further away from where you were supposed to be. It's like driving fast in the wrong direction. You look busy. You look like you are accomplishing something, but in reality, you are only delaying your destiny. Patience is power because it teaches you to wait on God's timing. The scripture says, "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles." Do you hear that? Waiting does not weaken you. Waiting strengthens you. When you are patient, you learn to see beyond the surface. You learn to discern who really belongs in your life and who is just passing through. You learn that What looks good today may not look so good tomorrow. Patience gives you the ability to test, to observe, to evaluate. Impatience blinds you, but patience opens your eyes. Now, let me be clear. Patience is not sitting around doing nothing. Patience is preparation. While you are waiting, you are working on yourself. While you are waiting, you are building your vision, developing your mind, growing your spirit, strengthening your finances. Patience is the season where God makes you ready for what He is about to bring into your life. And if you skip that season, you will sabotage the blessing when it comes. Many brothers lose good women because they met her too soon. They were not ready. They had no discipline, no direction, no stability. So even though she was right, the timing was wrong. That is why patience is power. It protects you from destroying what you are not ready to handle. Patience also exposes what time will reveal. A woman who looks perfect today may reveal her true character tomorrow. A woman who seems supportive at the beginning may reveal control, manipulation, or jealousy later. But if you are impatient, you will tie yourself to someone before you see the truth. Patience says, let me watch long enough to see what consistency looks like. Anyone can put on a show for a few weeks, but time will always expose the real heart. If you don't have patience, you will marry the performance and wake up with the reality. My brother, patience is the discipline of kings. Boys are in a hurry, but kings understand that legacy takes time. A boy wants what feels good now. A king wants what will still stand 10 years from now. A boy chases attention. A king builds presence. A boy runs after temporary pleasure, but a king waits for lasting purpose. You cannot claim kingship and be impatient at the same time, because kingship requires vision, and vision always requires time. Let me put it this way. Impatience will always cost you more than waiting. Think about Esau in the Bible. He was hungry, and in a moment of impatience, he sold his birthright for a bowl of stew. He gave away his inheritance because he couldn't wait. My brothers, how many men today are giving away their inheritance, their peace, their future, their crown, because they cannot wait? How many men are tying themselves to the wrong woman because they don't have the patience to wait for the right one? How many men are losing years of their life because they refuse to slow down and discern? Patience is power because it builds self-control, and self-control is what separates the man who rules his life from the man who is ruled by his impulses. A man without patience is a man without discipline, and a man without discipline is dangerous to himself because he will always chase what feels good instead of what is good. He will always move too fast, and in doing so, he will always miss God's best. Brothers, let me tell you this, the right woman, the right relationship, the right season, it will not pass you by. If God has ordained it, it will align when the time is right. You don't have to force it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to manipulate it. You just have to be patient, because what God has for you is for you. But when you run ahead of God, you end up creating Ishmael situations instead of Isaac blessings. Ishmael was born out of impatience, out of trying to make things happen too soon, and the world is still dealing with the consequences of that decision. Do not create permanent problems out of temporary impatience. Patience also proves your worth to yourself. When you can wait, you are telling yourself that you are valuable enough to not settle for less. You are telling yourself that you deserve alignment, not distraction. You are telling yourself that you will not compromise your future for temporary relief. That's what kings do. They wait for the best because they know they are the best. My brother, hear me clearly. Patience is not easy, but it is necessary. The enemy will always tempt you with counterfeits during your waiting season. He will always bring someone who looks close enough to what you prayed for, but not quite right. And if you are impatient, you will take the counterfeit and miss the real. But if you have patience, you will wait and discern, and when the real comes, you will know it. So I challenge you today, stop rushing, stop settling, stop thinking that you are behind, you are not late, you are not missing out. God's timing is always perfect. And if you learn the discipline of patience, you will discover that waiting is not wasting. Waiting is working. Waiting is preparing. Waiting is strengthening. Waiting is aligning. The man who learns patience has learned power because he cannot be manipulated by loneliness. He cannot be tricked by temporary attention. He cannot be rushed by pressure. He knows who he is, he knows what he deserves, and he knows that anything worth having is worth waiting for. That man is unstoppable. That man is unshakable. That man is a king. So, my brother, embrace patience. Don't despise it. Don't fight it. Let patience do its work in you. Because when the time is right, everything you've been waiting for will align. And when it does, you will realize that the wait was never a punishment. It was preparation. And that, my brother, is why patience is not weakness. Patience is power. My brothers, I want you to lean in and really hear me today, because this one right here will save you years of pain if you let it sink in. A woman's disinterest is not an insult. It's information. It's not a rejection of your worth. It's a revelation of compatibility. And too many men take disinterest as a challenge, as if they must somehow prove themselves until she changes her mind. But a king understands that when a woman shows you she's not interested, that's not your cue to work harder. It's your cue to recognize that she's not the one assigned to your life. See, the immature man's ego takes a hit when a woman says she's not into him. He interprets it as rejection, and rejection ignites his pride. He thinks, how dare she not want me? I'll show her. So he begins to chase, to perform, to compromise, just to try to flip her feelings. But my brother, let me tell you the truth. When you try to make someone want you who doesn't, you are disrespecting yourself, because the king in you understands that your worth is not up for negotiation. If she doesn't see it, then it simply means she's not your assignment. Now, let me help you understand this on a deeper level. Compatibility is not about how fine she is, how sexy she is, or how much attention she gives you in the beginning. Compatibility is about alignment of values, alignment of vision, alignment of spirit. If she is disinterested, that means her spirit does not resonate with yours. And that's not a bad thing. It's a blessing in disguise. Because imagine tying your life to someone whose spirit does not align with yours. Imagine trying to build with someone who doesn't even recognize the greatness in you. That is not love. That's bondage. The reason some of you brothers are frustrated is because you are trying to turn disinterest into desire. But you cannot make chemistry where there is none. You cannot force alignment. You cannot manufacture attraction. And the moment you try, you put yourself in a posture of chasing, performing, and begging. That's not king behavior. Kings don't beg to be chosen. Kings recognize who chooses them for who they are. I need you to see it this way. When a woman is disinterested, that's God's filter at work. That's heaven telling you this one is not your wife, this one is not your queen, this one is not your helpmate, because God knows what you need and God knows what she needs. If she doesn't feel it for you, that simply means you two are not designed to walk together. The Bible says, can two walk together except they be agreed? If she doesn't agree with who you are, then she's not supposed to walk with you. Let me bring it closer to real life. Have you ever put on a shoe that looked good in the store, but the moment you tried walking in it, it was uncomfortable? Maybe it was too tight, maybe it rubbed against your skin, maybe it just didn't feel right. Now, you could force yourself to wear it. You could squeeze your foot in there. You could suffer through the pain. You could walk around trying to convince yourself it's worth it. But what's going to happen? You're going to end up with blisters, with pain, with regret. My brother, that's what happens when you force yourself into a relationship with a woman who is disinterested. She's telling you from the start, this doesn't fit, but you ignore the signs because you're determined to make it work, and later you suffer the consequences. A king doesn't force a fit. A king understands that if she doesn't see his value, then she's not his queen. And rather than trying to prove himself, he preserves himself. He protects his energy. He guards his heart. He saves his time. Why? Because he knows the right woman will recognize him without persuasion. The right woman will honor his presence without performance. The right woman will be drawn to his essence, not his efforts. Here's another truth, my brother. Sometimes a woman's disinterest is not about you at all. It's about her season. Maybe she's not ready. Maybe she's not healed. Maybe she's not in the space to recognize the man you are. And that's still okay. Because what good is it for you to force yourself into her life when her heart isn't open to receive you? You'll only become a placeholder, a project, or worse, a casualty of her brokenness. That's why you have to respect disinterest. It's not rejection, it's redirection. And let me challenge your thinking for a moment. If she's disinterested, why do you want her anyway? Do you really want a queen who doesn't see the king in you? Do you really want to spend your life trying to convince someone of what you already know about yourself? That's exhausting. That's beneath you. That's not what God designed for you. Love is not about convincing, it's about connecting. And if she's not connecting, that's a clear sign she's not the one. So the mature man learns how to take no with grace. The mature man learns how to thank God for closed doors. The mature man understands that compatibility cannot be forced. He doesn't take disinterest as a personal wound. He takes it as a divine clue. And instead of wasting time trying to win her over, he invests that time in continuing to grow, to build, to prepare for the one who is truly meant to align with him. Because let me tell you this, my brother, the right woman won't be disinterested. The right woman will recognize you even in your raw form. She won't need you to perform. She won't need you to prove. She won't need you to beg. She will see you and know that's my man. And when that happens, you won't have to chase. You won't have to convince. You won't have to fight for her attention. The energy will be mutual. The connection will be real. And the compatibility will be undeniable. But until then, stop seeing disinterest as a wound. See it as wisdom. It's God's way of saying, not here, not now, not this one. And instead of questioning your value, affirm your value. Instead of chasing her heart, guard your heart. Instead of begging for her time, redeem your time. Because kings don't need every woman to want them. Kings only need the right woman to recognize them. So hear me, my brother, the next time a woman shows you she's not interested, don't get angry, don't get desperate, don't get insecure. Smile. Thank her for her honesty. Thank God for the clarity and move on with your crown intact, because her disinterest is not rejection of you. It's revelation about her. And revelation always saves you from regret. And when you live with that mindset, you stop wasting energy on what's not meant for you. And you position yourself for what is. That's the power of recognizing that a woman's disinterest is not rejection, it's compatibility revealed. And only a man who knows he is a king can truly embrace that truth. My brothers, let me sit down in your spirit with this one, because if you ever get this truth, it will shift the way you see yourself. It will shift the way you see relationships, and it will shift the way you move in this world. Kings attract queens by being kings. I want you to hear that slowly. Let it marinate in your soul. Kings do not chase queens. Kings do not manipulate women into choosing them. Kings do not lower themselves to be accepted. Kings stand in who they are. They embrace their divine identity. And because of the strength, the stability, the confidence, and the purpose they carry, the right queen recognizes them without explanation. See, too many men have been taught to spend their energy trying to impress women, trying to put on a show, trying to become what they think a woman wants. But my brother, that is backwards. A real king doesn't adjust his crown just to be seen. He keeps his crown on because it's who he is. And the woman that God has designed for his life will be drawn not to the performance, not to the show, but to the authenticity of the man. The queen is not looking for a clown in a costume. She's looking for a king walking in his natural authority. When you are truly walking in your kingship, you don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to run around trying to be flashy. Because the truth is, a king's presence is enough. It's the way he carries himself. It's the way he speaks. It's the way he handles pressure. It's the way he treats people. It's the way he manages his life. These things speak louder than money, louder than looks, louder than tricks. A real queen sees the man behind the surface, and what she's attracted to is his essence. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a lion in the jungle. The lion doesn't run around roaring all day trying to prove he's the king of the jungle. He doesn't run after every animal trying to prove his dominance. No, the lion simply is the king. His presence alone commands respect. He walks with a certain confidence, a certain authority, and all the other animals recognize it. That's how kingship works, my brother. You don't have to prove it, you just have to live it. And the right queen will see it without you having to advertise it. But here's the challenge. Too many brothers have not discovered their kingship yet. They're trying to attract a queen while still living like a pawn. They're trying to be chosen by a high-value woman without first becoming a high-value man. And this is why so many end up frustrated, because you cannot attract a queen until you've embraced your own identity as a king. You can't attract what you're not. A queen is not going to submit her life to a man who doesn't even know who he is. She's not going to follow a man with no vision, no discipline, no purpose, no direction. She's not going to be inspired by someone who's still trying to find his crown. So what does it mean to be a king? It means you've established yourself in purpose. It means you have control over your emotions. It means you walk in integrity. It means you handle your responsibilities with excellence. It means you don't let lust, ego, or immaturity dictate your moves. It means you know who you are in God and you refuse to shrink or compromise that identity for anyone. That's kingship. And when a queen sees that, She knows immediately that's a man I can align my life with. Let me make it practical. A king doesn't just say he's disciplined, he shows it in his lifestyle. A king doesn't just say he has vision, he demonstrates it by building something, even if it's small. A king doesn't just talk about respect, he lives it in the way he treats others. And here's the thing, the right queen is watching. She may not say anything at first, but she sees how you move. She sees how you carry yourself when no one's watching. She sees how you handle conflict, how you handle temptation, how you handle responsibility. And when she recognizes true kingship, she's drawn to it like a magnet. Now, let me warn you, my brother, if you try to attract a queen without being a king, you'll only end up with counterfeits. You'll end up with women who are drawn to the show, not to the substance, and those kinds of women will drain you, distract you, and destroy your focus because they didn't come for who you are, they came for what you displayed. But when you walk in authentic kingship, you filter out the wrong ones automatically because the wrong woman won't be interested in a man of discipline, of integrity, of vision, but the right woman will. That's why the key is not chasing women, but becoming who you're supposed to be. There's something magnetic about a man who knows himself, a man who isn't desperate, a man who can walk away, a man who is so focused on his mission that he doesn't have time to beg for validation. That's the kind of man who draws the right kind of woman, because women of substance are not looking for clowns. They're looking for crowns. They're not looking for a man who chases every skirt. They're looking for a man who can build an empire. And when you embody that, you'll find that queens will recognize you without you having to lift a finger. Think about David in the Bible. When he was just a shepherd boy, people overlooked him. But God had anointed him as king long before the crown was on his head. He carried himself with courage, with faith, with obedience, and eventually the world had to recognize what was already in him. That's the same with you. You may not have all the riches yet, you may not be on the biggest stage yet, but if you walk in your identity as a king, the right queen will see it in you long before the world does. So my brother, stop worrying about how to make women want you. Stop reading all these tricks and games about how to get her attention. That's childish. Real men, real kings don't spend energy trying to be wanted. They spend energy becoming, they spend energy building, they spend energy growing into their God-given identity. And once you do that, you don't have to go looking for a queen. She will recognize you because kings attract queens by being kings. Don't chase, embody, don't beg, build, don't perform, live. That's how you find her, or better yet, that's how she finds you. Because the truth is, when you step into kingship, you won't have to wonder who's the one. She'll align with you, she'll honor you, and she'll walk beside you, not because you convinced her, but because she recognized you. And when that day comes, my brother, you'll realize the power of everything I'm telling you. Kings don't attract queens by doing tricks. Kings attract queens by being kings. So stand tall, embrace your identity, walk in your purpose, and carry yourself like the royalty God designed you to be. Your queen will know you when she sees you.